This is Rabbi Fischer for a joyous, only happy things to talk about, Chanukah. And I'm glad you're watching. If you like our program, please give us a like and please subscribe to our channel. And please send this link to other people who might not otherwise be saying Chanukah today. But remember, Chanukah is a time that we just talk about happy, glorious things because it's Chanukah. Okay, here we go. Thanks for being here.
Maoz Tzur Yeshuati lechana leshabeach tikon beit tefilati b'shan toda neshabeach letachim naveach mitzaram naveach az egmor b'shir mizmor Chanukah tamizbeach az egmor b'shir mizmor Chanukah tamizbeach.
By the way, these are students who are studying in Yeshiva in South America. Tonight's theme is South America. There's other things too, but tonight has a little bit of a South America flavor. And part of these programs always, I like to remind all of us, there are Jews all over the world. All over the world. There's so much good stuff and our people are everywhere.
Salvación.
A ti es bueno alabar.
Levanta tu casa de oración.
Y un corbán de paz ofrendaré hasta que establezcas juicio sobre nuestros enemigos. Entonces alzaremos la canción de Chanukah. Entonces alzaremos la canción de Chanukah Tamizbeach.
I love how they use the J for the ch sound. You know, J is the ch sound. But then again, sometimes Hudia, it's the H sound. Ecuador, that's where they're at. The Yeshiva, the Sephardic Yeshiva of Ecuador. And of course, J is a ch. Chag, Sameach, Chanukah, lots of J's. Okay.
גדוד אלון נמצאים ברצועת עזה כבר ימים ארוכים.
This is from Israeli Channel 14. Every night in their nightly news program, they have Harigaim, Hayafim, Shel Am Yisrael, a sweet and happy, good feeling moment in the day's news related to the Jewish people. And on this day, their story is Anachnu od nachzor. We shall return. Chayalei Tzva HaHagana Yisrael, the Israel Defense Forces, kovi'im mezuzah b'rtzuat Azah, installing a mezuzah on a doorpost in Gaza.
נלחמים מול האויב ומגנים עלינו, הם הבינו שככל הנראה הם הולכים להישאר שם עוד זמן רב, אז הם החליטו לעשות את הדבר הבא. בואו נראה.
כל בית שניכנס ברצועת עזה יקבל מזוזה.
And so let's see what he, okay. Avichai is ma'ata oseh, what you're doing. Look, tell us, without making a promise or a vow. Chevra, guys, anachnu kan, we are here. And here we go. What do we receive here? It looks like he's saying receive missiles and mezuzahs. So, just a moment. We are unit number, or battalion 8717. We have returned to Gaza. We are returning the children. That's an expression in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31. Shavu banim ligvulam. The sons will return to their borders. Gaza is part of biblical Israel. That's what Samson was. If you remember, if you've heard of Samson, that was Gaza. That was where we are. As Gaza is part of Eretz Yisrael. And this soldier is saying, we are returning. The sons are returning to the land. So it's not only a war against Hamas, it's that we're returning to the land. We work really hard for the state of Israel. We're not going back until we win. And now, with good help, this house, this building, is going to get a mezuzah in Gaza. And we, as a people, yet will return after the war. The day will come when we return and again become sovereign in Gaza.
I put on my uniform and we brought the kids together when he said, listen, we are part of thousands of years of heritage and history as a people, but the difference is that this time we have the privilege to take our own path and making sure that this will never happen again.
We have 3 kids. The first night of Chanukah, I sat with them and I told them, listen, Daddy is currently on Gaza and I know that it is scary, but we all need to remember Daddy is inside to do the right thing and he's there for all of us. And the most special thing about lighting candles is that the candle is for a person and his home. Daddy can't light the candle probably because he's inside, but we are his home. We are each other's home. So it doesn't matter where he is or what he's doing right now, he's getting this light, and this light affecting him.
When we finally got our mission in Gaza, it was actually on the eve of Chanukah, and the first night we entered, there was no moonlight whatsoever. So this was like pitch black, and Gaza is with no electricity. You have to make sure that during the night that no light whatsoever is seen outside, because this is a war zone and no one's there except for the army and terrorists. We all wanted to light Hanukkah candles. So we spent several hours making sure that the house was pitch black. You know, you have to like nail up blankets over the windows and then you have to enter the most exterior rooms. It was a very, very special moment where we all felt that we were our own modern day Maccabees in some way.
I must say that lighting candles with you is much more fun. Not being scared of you in Gaza all the time. So I'm so happy that we got to have it this year.
Thanks so much.
This is a classic Hanukkah song for children. Chanukah Yaliyesh. I have a little menorah. Doleket Liva Esh. It's got flames that are flickering. V'sachali balat akad katan nechad. And the candle lights flicker and they do like a little ballet. And it's all from one little pitcher of oil. Pitcher, one little pitcher of oil. Chanukah Yaliyesh. I have a menorah, and there are hand gestures that go with it. Like you take your, just very briefly, it's hard to describe. You basically, as a kid, I did this as a kid, you take your two hands and you put them together, and your four fingers are the candles. And so when you say Chanukah Yaliyesh, you do that. Doleket li ba'esh, the candles, so you go up, because there's the flame. The Sachali Balat, etc., Chanuk, and then you finish up Chanukah Yaliyesh. I don't think these kids were trained as well as I was. We had a school marm teacher who made sure we got it perfect, like the Rockettes or something. If there's you know the status that Israel's been in this year. Well, actually, probably always, but this year's been really hard. And the Olympic Games took place this year. And there were any number of countries that they didn't want Israel to compete in the Olympic Games. And once the Israelis would arrive in France, they would be booed almost everywhere, except by other Israelis who flew in to attend and give support to the team. And as the Olympics were coming, first there are the regular Olympics, and then there are the Olympics for people with handicaps. And Israel competed in both. And El Al, the airline of Israel, ran this commercial.
יקרים, בעוד מספר דקות ננחת בשדה התעופה שארל דה גול בפריז. בהזדמנות זו, אנחנו רוצים לאחל לנבחרת שלנו בהצלחה.
מקווה שאת עוד שומרת, רגעים שמחים למזכרת. כמה אנשים עוד כתבו לך כאן שירים על מחברת.
Yes, but you represent your country.
Yes, I do.
I can't wait to return home with a medal. Next question, please. Anton Malenko and
גן עדן.
אוהבים אותך!
איתנו אתם אף פעם לא לבד. אל על, המטיסה הרשמית למשחקים הפאראלימפיים, מקימה את נבחרת הדגל, שתטוס לעודד ולהפוך את פריז למגרש הכי ביתי בעולם. רוצים להצטרף אלינו? חפשו נבחרת הדגל. אל על, הכי בבית בעולם.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you are able for the anthem.
And this was Amir Dadaon. He won an Israeli. He won a gold medal in this spring's Paralympic Games. And as you know, the winner of the gold medal, that person's national anthem is played. I found this incredibly moving, watching him.
Anthem of Israel.
on to South.
Again, I just sounded so
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, let's get this.
Moving on to.
As you know, our Hanukkah programs this year are looking back at some of the most inspirational moments of the past year. With all the negative news out there, Israel and anti-Semitism and the American universities, we're focusing on all the wonderful things this year. Now, this is going a different direction from where you might think, but I begin with 5 years ago, this report about anti-Semitism in Argentina. Today, the most anti-Semitic country in the world, other than, of course, the dictatorships of Russia, North Korea, China, even they are not that anti-Semitic. They just have their own dictatorial, world-conquering ideas. The most anti-Semitic country in the world today is Ireland. And those who attend our Sunday classes have seen a great deal about how Ireland, the anti-Semitism is out of control. But a few years ago, it was Argentina. And Argentina was so bad, that's where Nazi war criminals went to hide. That's where Israel found Adolf Eichmann, hiding in Argentina. Argentina was the most anti-Semitic country in the world. And this is 2 minutes from five years ago, to give you an idea of how bad things were. And obviously we're here for inspirational purposes, so you know it's going somewhere different.
Also a number of attacks too, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Well, in this case, they were referring to the first time in Rosario, but in Argentina, this past year, there have been a few major attacks that received national and even international attention. The first was earlier this year when Argentina's chief rabbi, Gabriel Davidovich, was attacked in his home. He was tied up and beaten and robbed, which is why it's not clear if this was anti-Semitic or not, but this received much attention in Argentina and around the world and was condemned as an anti-Semitic attack because the intruders said that they knew that he was the chief rabbi. Then there was another attack a few months after where another rabbi was attacked in Buenos Aires outside the synagogue. And then last month again in Buenos Aires, a man wearing a kippah was beaten and also verbally assaulted with anti-Semitic slurs. And what's really disturbing about this attack is that the victim said that there were people on the street who saw him getting attacked and just laughed or continued to walk by, and even though this wasn't a violent attack. Also earlier this year, there were gravestones in a Jewish cemetery that were vandalized, and also this week there was an Holocaust memorial in Resistencia, another city in Argentina, which was vandalized with a swastika.
Well, this actually does seem like...
So that's Argentina 5 years ago. And now Argentina today.
Of course they are.
So Argentina has a new president, Javier Milei, and he is a very exciting character, and his very exotic personal and professional life has been well documented. But something that you might not know about Javier Milei is he is a great lover of the Jewish people. He's a philo-Semitic, to use a technical term. And all of his best friends in Argentina are Jews, many of his personal advisors are Jews, and he actually has talked on many, many occasions of his admiration for Jewish people. He is not Jewish himself, he's Catholic, but he has called the Pope an imbecile and has not been a fan of Catholic leadership in the world in his past statements. Javier Milei was actually in New York City on Tuesday visiting a place called the Ohel, which is a gravesite for a very famous rabbi named Menachem Mendel Schneerson. He's informally known as the Rebbe. He's a very big deal in parts of Brooklyn and in Queens. And he was visiting there and he was talking to all these, long...
The Rebbe also around the world, not just Brooklyn, Queens.
Whitebeards saying, really feeling the faith, and it was very incredible. He has promised that his first international trip will be to Israel. I guess it's going to be his second international trip because his first was obviously to the United States. To the Ohel, to this gravesite of this very important rabbi where he just didn't do anything, he just prayed there. And then he left, he took no interviews. There was no official business here. He then went on to Washington, D.C. It's certainly something we've never seen before in Latin America, so it's exciting. We'll see where it goes.
This is where the Lubavitcher Rebbe, whom the Chabad Hasidic movement regards as the greatest of rabbis who lived in the modern era. This is where the Rebbe is buried. It's called the Ohel, which literally means like the tent or the encampment. You see it's within a cemetery area. You see all the tombstones, and there's a special section where the Rebbe is buried. There are people who actually fax request. This is a Hasidic thing. Non-Hasidim don't really do this, but they actually fax, F-A-X, requests, like prayers, that are delivered here, and I think are placed on the kever for like a moment, on the gravesite for a moment, in order to like make the request of the Rebbe. Again, that's not something that non-Chabad, non-Lubavitch people really do, for any number of reasons we don't have to talk about now. But that's how major the Rebbe is. And here is Javier Milei, again, from this incredibly, even 5 years ago, not to mention when there were Nazi war criminals hiding there and Peronistas, and now the new president, he stops off at the Ohel of the Rebbe. That's the Rebbe's in the Rebbe's life for tombstone.
Hay un libro que tiene, digamos, o sea, enseñanzas del Rebbe, ¿sí? Y entonces cuando...
They're interviewing in Argentina the new president. So you can imagine what would happen when you interview a new president. What are you going to do with the economy? What are you going to do with foreign affairs, the Middle East, Ukraine, Russia? Do you have any plans for what about the climate, if that's your thing? So here you're interviewing the new president of the country, and he suddenly goes off on this.
Vos vas, yo te
starts telling this guy about
que
the
tiene,
Rebbe.
digamos, o sea, enseñanzas del Rebbe, ¿sí? Y entonces cuando vos vas, yo te suelen regalar ese libro. Ahora, ¿cómo es que se escribió eso?
¿Cómo?
Porque eso es lo interesante. El Rebbe daba, digamos, hablaba en Shabbat. Pero ¿cuál es el problema? Vos no podés escribir, no podés hacer nada. Entonces, ¿cómo es que se escribió eso? ¿Sí o no?
Sí, ¿cómo se escribió?
Ah, esto es lo interesante. Bueno, había 5 rabinos que se aprendían de memoria el discurso del Rebbe. Y cuando terminaba el Shabbat, escribían.
Again, I'm just watching this interviewer who's thinking in his mind, what the heck is going on? Is this guy serious? Look at his face. He's like not into this. Javier Milei, President Milei, couldn't be more excited. And this guy is just trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. Imagine like Jake Tapper or, I don't know, Nora O'Donnell or one of these people trying to interview the new president of the country.
Y el Rebbe después iba y lo editaba, lo revisaba. Bueno, tuve la posibilidad, tuve el honor, uno de esos rabinos, ¿sí?, volcó en un libro esas enseñanzas. Y tuve el privilegio de que me lo regalara y me lo autografiara.
¿Qué es tu vida?
Para, dame un segundo más. Después, cuando vos ves los videos del Rebbe, hay un rabino detrás que tiene una barba blanca, larga. Bueno, es con otros que estuve reunido. Y después me fui a rezar al Ohel. O sea, no fui a hacer nada vinculado ni a la economía, ni a negocio, ni a política, ni nada por el estilo.
Dejen trabajar. Chicos. Sí, joga. Estoy trabajando con el presidente, soltame. ¿Qué me agarras? Trabajando con el presidente, pues no joda a los demás. Estoy trabajando, flaco. ¿Qué están ahí empujando? Estamos trabajando. Estamos trabajando todos. ¡Am Israel! ¡Am Israel! ¡Am Israel! ¡Am Israel! Muchas gracias.
Now stick with me on this because there's something in this. You may or may not remember there was an incident, there have been a few, but this is one of them, when Sahal, the IDF, actually found Israeli hostages being held by Hamas and actually was able to liberate them. This is a very famous incident in the past year. Itself is inspiring.
כנס, כנס. אחד איתי. עברית, שכם פה כולם. הנה, פה. שם. אנדרי. שלוש שונים בידי. הכל בסדר, אני מחלץ אתכם כאילו. יש.
Did you notice that fist bump to let them know we're the good guys, we're on your side?
ראשון עלה, שני, שלישי איתנו.
בן גוריון, אתה יכול לראות את המסלולים שם הארוכים, המסלולים של נתב"ג.
שוף אחד שירחיק את אחד הלוחמים לפנינו, אז אנחנו אחד בתל השומר.
כל הכבוד לכם.
כל הכבוד לך. הדבר הכי חשוב בעולם.
כנס. אחד איתי. עברית, שכם פה כולם. הנה, פה. שם. אנדרי. שלוש שונים בידי. הכל בסדר, אני מחלץ אתכם כאילו. יש.
Last night, in the most bold rescue operation in the war to date, the IDF was able to rescue 2 hostages from the heart of Rafah in the middle of a war zone in an urban area. How were they able to do it? The details are not yet publicized, but with tunnels and booby traps and a war zone all around them, somehow miraculously, the IDF was able to do the impossible. What I want to do though right now is I want to tell you the backstory of what happened right before this amazing rescue operation, connect the dots and tell you something that the media will never share. Right before the rescue operation, the newly elected president of Argentina made his first trip to Israel. And for those of you that don't know, this is the most pro-Israel, pro-Jewish international leader that we have ever seen before. He says he wants to convert to Judaism when he completes his presidency. He says he's a student of the Rebbe, of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He says he loves Israel, loves the Bible, believes in God. And when he came to Israel, it was like a media fanfare. He goes to the Western Wall and he's crying in the most heartfelt prayer we've ever seen any international leader ever pray like that. A lot of international leaders come and they'll put a little, note in the wall. You see him crying for his people, crying for Israel. Everywhere he goes, people are singing and dancing, and we're looking at this charismatic leader and no one really knows what to do with it. Then in the evening, he goes to Yad Vashem, which of course represents the greatest disaster in Jewish history. And he gives a Bible teaching on prophecy of the building of the third temple in Jerusalem and the timeless tale of hope of Rabbi Akiva.
Hay una profecía acerca de la destrucción que relata que un zorro irrumpiría en el lugar más santo. También hay otra profecía que relata que este mismo lugar será reconstruido. Ahora que veo con mis propios ojos cumplirse la primera profecía, me río de alegría y esperanza, ya que de seguro se cumplirá la segunda profecía.
And that night, 2 hostages were rescued. Do you know where those 2 hostages were from? That's right. They were from Argentina.
What? More visitors?
Greetings, Joseph and Miriam from Nazareth. The star of Bethlehem and GPS showed us the way to your door. Allow us to introduce ourselves. We are 3 wise men from the West.
Okay, 3 wise persons.
Of course. May we enter?
Love the decor. Very earthy.
Yes, so sustainable.
Oh, yes. What are these walls? Cadillac?
I'm sorry, but it's really late. I just had a baby.
Yeah, and we already had a visit from the 3 wise men from the East. They just left, so maybe it's not a good time.
With all due respect to these Eastern wise men, we're from Berkeley.
Okay. Anyway, they gave us their blessing and they told us that our newborn son will be the king of the Jews.
Jews? Jews? What do you mean Jews?
I don't see anything Jewish here.
You have to understand, Jews will only come to this land 1,948 years from now.
As a colonialist power.
Oh, I see someone's been listening this semester.
True.
What do you mean? We are Jews.
No, you're not.
So what are we?
You are Palestinians, of course.
That drip is fire.
What?
Palestinians, the indigenous inhabitants of this land. In the beginning, God created the heaven, the earth, and Palestinians.
Wait, so my baby is also Palestinian?
Of course. And you don't practice Judaism, you practice Islam.
Allahu Akbar, man.
So Akbar.
What is Islam?
I'm sorry. That's a very Islamophobic question.
Actually, it makes me feel unsafe.
So, wait a minute. Our baby will be the king of the Palestinians?
Exactly. Too bad he'll be dead at a very young age because he'll be murdered by the Jews.
Oh, my God.
Excuse me, Professor. So there are Jews living here?
No. Only Palestinians.
Oh, so the Palestinians will kill Jesus?
No Palestinian would ever hurt anyone. Never. Especially not Hamas.
Wait, I don't understand.
Okay, guys, this is exactly what our next class is about, all right? Oh. How did the Jews kill Jesus without even existing? It's gonna be fun, all right? Don't worry about it.
It's so worth 54 grand a year in tuition.
Right?
Kidding.
Anyways, congratulations on your definitely not Jewish baby boy.
Yay, woo. Can we go visit Santa in the North Pole?
North Palestine.
Oh,
North Palestine. Right. Santa is a Palestinian too.
Santa Akbar.
Oh, very good.
Ho, ho, ho.
What the hell?
US. We're going to light the candles now, and then we'll finish with a few little other parts of the program. Join me, if you have a menorah with you, for the 6th night of Chanukah. It is appropriate to stand while lighting the menorah. I sit in order to be able to handle this so you can participate this way. And I have my menorah, my candle. I'll pause a moment for those of you with menorahs too. And it's so good to have everybody here for the 6th night of Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'asa nisim la'avoteinu, bayamim hahem b'hazman hazeh. We continue with the last phase, a little bit of music and songs. This is a Holocaust survivors and their children were gathered together for a special event on a Holocaust Memorial Day to sing the song of Yisrael Chai, the one that became famous with Ofra Chaza at the Eurovision about 30 years ago. And it's just a beautiful song.
There was a soldier in the Israeli army. This soldier was in a unit of not religious, of chilonim, but he was a religious soldier, so every day he would put on his tefillin, and some of his friends would mock him. You know, some of the people that are not religious are like really not religious. They like practically never saw tefillin in their life, even though they live in Israel. So they'd mock him and knock him and you know, but it wasn't a big deal. Every day he wore his tefillin. One day they're out in a battle somewhere in a desert, and one of the soldiers walks up ahead, and suddenly they hear a shriek, and the soldier blows up. There was a mine right underneath him, and they realized that this whole desert is a field of mines. There's bombs everywhere, and the enemy is about to come. They're running across. If they go across, they can hide. Standing here in the middle of the desert, I don't know if the next step I take might be a bomb. They stood there frozen and frightened, this whole group. So this man pulled out his tefillin and put them on in the middle of the desert. So his friends like, come on now, are you serious? In the middle of the day, it's the sun, we can't move, we're frightened out of our minds, you're putting on tefillin? He says, yeah, that's why I'm putting on tefillin. And he puts on his tefillin, and he's sitting there and starting to pray, and they start to hear like a little howl, like a noise. Before you know it, this tremendous windstorm comes. And you can imagine, you know, a windstorm in the desert, everyone goes down, they ducks, and the wind is blowing sand all over the place, and they're sitting, and this guy has a tefillin on, the straps are blowing, everyone's jackets are blowing. They're within 20 minutes, they're in this crazy sandstorm, they're sitting in the ground, their heads are down, and they're waiting for this, like, just to leave. After 20 minutes, they stand up, and they look around, and they realize that now they can see every single mine, because the sand was all blown away. And so they simply walked through the field and got to the other side.
With the prayer for the armed forces of Israel, may God bless them and watch over them.
הקמים עלינו, ניגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם, ויעטרם בכתר ישועה ובעטרת ניצחון, ויקוים בהם הכתוב: כי השם אלוקיכם ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם עם אויביכם להושיע אתכם. Mishebeirakh Avraham
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Have a wonderful Chanukah. God willing, we'll catch you again tomorrow night at 6:00 p.m. And just make it fun. Do something. Eat a jelly donut. If you're on a diet, look at one. Bye-bye.